Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study Night, the 4th of April, 2024. We'll be reading out the book of Jeremiah later on in the class. And you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have a bunch of videos. You can check them out. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And like I said, we have other other days that we are on this channel, and they are Tuesday through Thursday from 9 to 7 p.m. Central Time. We have other classes, and then Friday nights we have Men's Advanced Bible Study, but it's on Clubhouse, and the room is Non-Messianic Conversation. And we also have 2 classes on the Shabbat, one in the morning and one in the evening. The morning classes from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. That's every Saturday. Okay. This is a non-Messianic channel, and by that we deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, the so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah. We don't subscribe to the New Testament, the God in the New Testament, the apostles, Paul, none of that. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence. We'll read a prayer, Psalms, get some women's help. Then we're going to our current events and a little need to know information. Then we open it up for some questions and comments and dialogue. Then we go into our reading, which is out of the book of Jeremiah, picking up from where we've been the last couple of weeks. Okay, we'll read and break down the scriptures. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and our Creator Yahweh and all that they're doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down and honoring you and praising you and believing in you. We thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you reveal the times that we as Jacob's children would endure this tribulation. Keep us, O Lord, guide us and deliver us. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures. We trust you, O Lord, with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence to shine forth on our enemies with all that power and that great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay, we gotta read the Psalms.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. I'll be reading Psalms 139. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. Thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Verse 5. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thy hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from my spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. Verse 11. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelously are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Verse 16, thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book of all members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee. Surely thou shalt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee, and am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and know if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalms 139 verses 1 through 24. When I looked at this song, Know and Known jumped out a lot throughout a lot of the verses. And when you talk, David was talking to the Lord of hosts, he was letting him know, which he had already known, that he knows him. He knows everything about him, and yet he still loved him, and he know um, just what to do with him. And so he was. This is in his latter years that David's getting ready to leave and perish. But that's what I got out of this. How he really praised the Lord of hosts for knowing everything about him and loving him, and how he loved the Lord of hosts.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. So this is a prime example of what I was talking about. How when they concocted JC in the New Testament, in another one of the major ways they put him in the Old. First of all, they put him in David lineage. They put him in David lineage. Then they turned, and after they put him in David lineage, they went back here to Psalms, which is David's dealings with the Lord. But they want you to think that it's dual. It's dual because it's David foretelling Jesus coming. But if you notice through this whole Psalms right here, Psalms 139, verse 80 says, if I ascend up into heaven. It don't have nothing to do with JC. He talk about himself. And 9, if I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea. 11, if I. So all through here, it's him. It's not no dual prophecy where David talking, but he's talking about somebody coming in the future. David is talking about, like you said earlier, his encounters, his dealings with the Lord of hosts. Not He's not prophesying about nobody coming. It's all about him. But like I said, that's one of the ways
Yes,
they
sir.
was able to eject Jesus over in the Old Testament. Okay, and then we had a conversation a couple times with different people about night and day being one day. We see it right here in 12. Yea, darkness. David talking to the Lord of hosts. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The night shineth as the day. Darkness and light are both alike to thee. So to the Lord, day and night, it's all the same. One day. Okay. And then I saw another one. Mm,
Excuse me,
yeah.
brother. Leonard. That same verse you just uh, dissected and talked about, it shows too. In my looking at it, that intimacy that David and the Lord of hosts had. because he could see all the power of the Lord of hosts, and the Lord of hosts surely knew him. So it just
Right,
shows. I just saw that. Thank you.
right. Yes, this is in his older years. Like Psalm 37 says, I was young, but now I am old, and I never seen the Lord begging bread. So that's right here. He's in his elder years, and he had all these encounters with the Lord. So
Yes.
you can see his relationship with him in this song. Right. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our women's health moment.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please know that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on the health benefits of figs. Figs have been associated with health and prosperity since ancient times. The fig tree belongs to the mulberry family and produces a delicious, sweet fruit that is popular all over the world. Figs are a unique fruit resembling a teardrop. They are about the size of your thumb, filled with hundreds of tiny seeds, and have edible purple or green peel. The flesh of the fruit is pink and has a mild, sweet taste. Figs are also known as anjeer, Anjeer, are also good for because they are loaded with healthy nutrients. They are good source of vitamins including vitamin A, B1, and B2, as well as minerals like magnesium, potassium, iron, and calcium. Let's not forget they are a great source of fiber, and we all know how important that is for our health. Figs contain a soluble fiber called pectin, and when this type of fiber, which is known to help reduce cholesterol levels, when you eat high fiber foods like figs, the fiber makes its way through your digestive system, clearing up excess deposits of cholesterol before carrying them to the bowels, which they get safely eliminated. Being a soluble fiber, pectin stimulates regular, healthy movements of the bowels and is a great remedy for constipation, as well as protecting you from the serious illness like colon cancer. Fresh and dried figs possess phenol, as well as healthy omega 3 and 6 fatty acids, which are known to reduce a person's risk of developing heart disease. Fig leaves also have a major benefit effect on triglyceride levels. They can inhibit triglycerides and reduce the overall triglyceride level in the system. This is significant because of the relationship between high triglycerides and the risk of heart disease. Many people have diets which are high in sodium and too low in potassium. This balance can lead to elevated blood pressure levels or hypertension. Having a high potassium content but is very low in sodium can be corrected by eating plenty of figs that can protect you from high blood pressure. There is plenty of evidence that adding more fiber to your diet can help you shed a few unwanted pounds or at the very least to keep your weight under control. Figs are a valuable source of fiber and are often recommended as part of a high fiber diet. Fiber can help you feel more full and less likely to overeat throughout the day. Figs are also a great source of calcium, which the bones and teeth need to maintain their health. As we age, our eyes tend to degrade, but adding healthy fruit like onto your diet can help protect your eyes and maintain your vision longer into your old age. You may not be aware that fig leaves can be made into a soothing hot drink similar to a herbal tea. This is an ideal beverage for treating respiratory problems like bronchitis and asthma. A fig is a nutritious fruit that provides a lot of calcium and fiber. People can choose to eat fresh or dried figs, but they should be mindful that dried figs contain more calories and sugar. I will be reading Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 6 through 8. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills. Verse 8, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of all olive and honey. Tonight's discussion was on the health benefits of figs, and I read Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 6 through 8. Shalom.
Okay. Appreciate that information. We want to go to our current event.
Crashing in the United States, and it's about to get much worse. Big trouble is ahead for many banks that have commercial real estate in their portfolios. Fed Chief Jerome Powell warning, quote, there will be bank failures at the Senate Banking Committee that was in early March due to declining values and defaulting loans in the commercial real estate space. Smaller banks are specifically feeling the pinch. Specifically, those small and mid-sized banks could collapse in the coming months. Guess what? The consolidation will happen. They will be either failed completely or gobbled up by the bigger banks. That's exactly what they want. It's all part of the plan. Listen to what he said in March.
On commercial real estate, we have a secular change in people working from home. This is one big part of it. That means that in many cities, the downtown office district is very underpopulated. There are empty buildings in many major and minor cities. It also means that all the retail that was there to service the thousands and thousands of people who work in those buildings, they're under pressure too. And banks will have made loans to many of those buildings. Not all of them, but many. So this we've known for some years. And so what do? We have identified the banks that have high commercial real estate concentrations, particularly office and retail, and other ones that have been affected a lot. We identify them, and we are in dialogue with them around, do you have your arms around this problem? Do you have enough capital? Do you have enough liquidity? Do you have a plan? You're going to take losses here. Are you being truthful with yourself and with your owners? And so we've been working with them. And so for some time we've been doing that. And, this is a problem that we'll be working on for years more, I'm sure. There will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue for any of the very large banks. It's more, smaller and medium sized banks that have these issues.
It's worth noting that we heard a similar message from Janet Yellen, U.S. Treasury Secretary, just a month earlier. Yellen told lawmakers that bank regulators are working on addressing risks tied to high vacancy rates and lower valuations across major U.S. cities. And it's no secret that the commercial real estate sector has seen huge impacts since the pandemic. The work from home revolution has brought about sweeping changes for society and for the economy at large. Who wants to go to an office building, commute 2 hours? Office spaces and retail locations, specifically in these areas, have been absolutely crushed, where they have high vacancies. And we've seen this massive turnover over the past few years. Who wants to open a business and move individuals into an office space anymore? There's no sign of things trending in a positive direction in that regard. I picture sort of like the Mad Men era of New York City, right? The 1950s, everyone taking the subway to go into New York City to work in the high-rise building. Really? Most buildings now experiencing 20, 30% vacancy rates. You don't have to be an economist to see that things have gone south. If you've been in any downtown area or shopping mall the past couple of years, it's blatantly clear that there's been a shift in commercial real estate. Everything is moving online and out of the big cities. In fact, Moody's Analytics found that a staggering 19% of office spaces were not leased in the fourth quarter of 2023. That's up from 18% back in 2022, and it keeps going up. This major shift in the workplace has totally upended the commercial office space industry. If you combine that then with higher interest rates, it's put pressure on these leaseholders and lenders alike, resulting in many businesses defaulting on these loans. Why are they going to refinance into a higher interest rate for a building that's half vacant? It doesn't make sense. The math doesn't add up. Nearly 1.5 trillion of U.S. commercial real estate will be due for repayment by the end of 2025. Do you hear what I'm telling you? We are sitting on a ticking time bomb. And with interest rates being a bit higher, refinancing is absolutely risky right now. Banks like Chase and Wells Fargo will walk away from the fallout largely unaffected. In fact, they may even profit by having a larger monopoly in the banking industry going forward. Their exposure is lessened. They'll be able to come in and gobble up all of these smaller banks. So these smaller community banks, these regional banks, they don't have much capital to fall back on. The future is bleak. So they will reach out for a lifeline from the bigger banks. Game over for them. These small local banks with a high percentage of commercial properties on their balance sheets will fail. That's exactly what Jerome Powell said. There will be defaults and collapses in community banks. We heard it straight from the horse's mouth. You don't have to read between the lines. There's big trouble here. In fact, the Federal Reserve's own data from September 23 shows that commercial real estate comprised 44% of portfolios of these small banks. Wow. Only 14% of the country's big 25 banks had any commercial real estate exposure.
Okay. Any comments on that? Ain't looking good. People should be preparing. No comments? Okay. Look at this.
Power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app.
20, when Biden was running, it was about 80% of black men, and so it was going to be a little bit less than that this year, 2024. But then as I got to reading a little, to tell you, I was going to take it in a different direction. And then I started to read a little bit further into the article, and I said, I think this is a little bit more interesting. Now, originally, I was going to tell you all about how Black Democratic voters are starting to leave the Democratic Party more so and are going over to the Republicans. So, of course, y'all know that we are in election season, and it said that about 1/4 of Black voters are looking to go vote for that of President Donald Trump. Now, that is a huge uptick, really since, let's say, 2008, where they said, especially Black men, about 95% of Black male voters voted for Barack Obama. And they said in 2020, when Biden was running, it was about 80% of Black men. And so it was going to be a little bit less than that this year, 2024. But then as I got to reading a little bit deeper into the article, I said, that explains it. Now, some of y'all have Black entertainers and news media and things like that that y'all follow. But y'all might have been noticing some of the Black people that you follow have been starting to talk about politics just a little bit more. And maybe they haven't been talking about that at all, but now they're starting to. And I'm going to read y'all this, and maybe you guys' light bulb will pop on too. It says, one Biden-Harris official who spoke to The Independent also pointed to the campaign's recent $25 million ad campaign, which they described as the largest and earliest investment in Black media for a re-election campaign in history, as well as a recent Atlanta campaign event showcasing Black surrogates and Black support for the Biden-Harris administration at large. So y'all heard that, right? $25 million, the largest in history, to go after the Black voter and say, hey, here we are, come vote for us. And so again, if y'all see y'all favorite celebrity and, you know, even some of the people that you follow that talk about the Democrats a lot, now you know why it's possible they got a little bit of that $25 million. So they have ramped up the efforts to make you feel like a fool for not wanting to vote for the Democrats or not wanting to vote for more of nothing. Like you'll see people, I'll say like Therese, right? Therese Gibson, who was a singer. Lately, he's been talking about, y'all, you know, Donald Trump ain't this, Donald Trump ain't that, and Biden is this, and Biden is that. And it's like, brother, just a couple of weeks ago, you was crying about your ex-wife and something she did to you. Now all of a sudden you pivoted and you talking about politics. How much money did you get, brother?
Right.
So don't be surprised about that. Now, as I continue to read on in this article, this is what it said. These efforts are all a result of our campaign understanding that we cannot take a single vote for granted. We cannot take Black voters for granted. And we are working to earn their vote with substantial and early investments in reaching them where they are and being creative with that. And we want to make sure that they're aware of all the promises made and kept by the president and the vice president. It's like, what promises did you keep to Black people? I'm Black. I don't recall any promises that they even made to Black people. Now we talk about specifically. We ain't talking about the infrastructure bill and this, and we talking about specifics. Do y'all remember any promises that was made and kept? And then they talk about we're trying to reach, and what you trying to reach out to us for? You trying to reach out and give us a check? Are you trying to reach out to us and give us more of the same? Well, you know, I ain't just gonna do anything but just black people know, or I ain't gonna be held responsible, or what? What are you trying to reach us for? We don't want you to reach us. Don't reach out and touch us unless you're reaching out and putting a check in the mailbox. What do you want to say to us, Kamala and Joe, that you haven't already said? I mean, y'all have lied in the faces of black people. Joe Biden stood up there when he got elected, or, you know, and said, black people, you stood, but you have my back, I'm gonna have your back. He lied. He has not had black people's back. Now, of course, they want to spend $25 million. To me, it seemed like he could have gave black people $25 million instead of making these campaigns to get more black people to sign up for more of nothing. But to spend $25 million to say what? You haven't said nothing, and if you get reelected, you're really going to ignore black people because it's your second term, so you ain't going to feel beholden at all to black people. In fact, you don't do what Barack Obama, yes, I said Barack Obama did in his second term, really ignore black people. See, in his first term, he never really said he was going to do anything specifically for black people, but he wasn't ignoring black people like he did in his second term. But that's what Joe Biden is going to do. So I'm just confused as to what you want to reach out and tell us. You ain't going to tell us nothing we need to hear or we even want to hear. So, you know, I think you wasted $25 million. And so lastly in the article, I saw this. Yet at the same time, Biden campaign sources didn't appear to have clear answers on how the campaign or the Democratic ecosystem has prepared to counter Trump's status as a cultural meme. Nor do they seem to know exactly how to counter the waves of disinformation that will target it specifically at blacks, either from the Trump campaign as allies or foreign actors intent on helping the ex-president become the president-elect once more. And it's like, what disinformation are you talking about? Or are you talking about the information of how people, especially in the new black media, are telling black people to wake up, that there is no benefit in continuing to vote for the Democratic Party who has not helped black people? And yes, I know people are saying, well, what about the Republicans? Answer me this. When is the last time a Republican showed up at your black church or your black fish fry or any of that stuff, say, hey, vote for us? You haven't seen that. So that's not something that the Republicans do. They don't come and lie and pander to black people. Now, maybe they're starting to do it a little bit. Let's just keep it real. But that's not who they are. They know that black people do not vote for them like they do the Democrats. So that's not a spiel of theirs, if you will. But what disinformation are you talking about, Democrats? That black media, the real black media, is telling black people, hey, Joe Biden and Kamala mean you know earthly good. In fact, they have helped everybody else but you. And they have said they're not going to help you specifically, but we watch them help everybody else, migrants, the Ukrainians, the Afghans, and sending all the money to pay for wars and a whole bunch of other things, but nothing specifically for you. When you, as a black person, ask for reparations, well, we don't have it. But yet they'll pass spending bills worth trillions to help other people, while you as black people in America struggle. But then when it comes closer to election time, they're going to pay for buses, strippers, and a whole.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. It was like we were speaking on the reparations again. They will probably at the last minute put it out and start like saying, well, we're going to give some incentive to just to get the people in to vote, and like they said, don't follow through. And he's not going to follow through if he is even to that point of being elected again.
Right. Yeah, we see his numbers. He didn't panic because the numbers going down so fast. So if these numbers keep going down, they're gonna have to do something drastic. So yeah, he's losing a lot of support. Okay, yeah, this is one of those things I was talking about, how they tamper with our scriptures. This is trying to David's lineage.
The Scriptures Channel. The roots of King David have been the subject of much debate and discussion in contemporary academic circles. It is well known that within King David's lineage, there were individuals who did not have Israelite ancestry. Even within his own family, there were relatives whose origins were not Jewish. However, the majority of them have Jewish roots, stemming from the tribe of...
So listen to this, you'll see where the controversy came in, where the Edomite came in. So how is this the Messiah but he got people in his lineage that ain't Israelite or ain't Hebrew. We know it's been tampered with.
Of Judah. Let's now delve into the truth about King David and his genealogy. I will conduct a detailed analysis of the scriptures so that everyone can fully understand the history of David and his genetic heritage. The truth about King David's lineage, the secrets few speak of. The name David, in ancient Phoenician Hebrew, means beloved or dear, and is pronounced as David. He was the second monarch of Israel, succeeding King Saul. Originally from the tribe of Judah, he initially ruled over this tribe and later over all the people of Israel. He was chosen by the prophet Samuel himself as the ruler of Israel, guided by God, and belonging to the lineage of King David, as described in 1 Chronicles, chapter 2 of the Bible. I will be reading and explaining each verse and character related to David's lineage. These were the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah were Onan, and Shelah. These three sons were born to him by the daughter of Shua, the Canaanite woman. Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, so the Lord put him to death. But Tamar, Er's widow, bore him Perez and Zerah. Judah had 5 sons in all. The sons of Perez, Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of Zerah, Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Dara, 5 in all. The son of Carmi, Achar, who brought trouble on Israel by violating the ban on taking devoted things. The son of Ethan, Azariah. Achar lived in the time of Joshua and committed anathema by disobeying God and taking a Babylonian robe and other jewels in Jericho, being cursed for it. Many people have doubts about which of Judah's sons King David descended from, as well as Jesus Christ himself. In fact, I made an interesting video about the 2 lineages of the Messiah, or the 2 lineages of Jesus Christ, explaining each one of them, and I also made a video about why Jesus came from the tribe of Judah. I suggest watching later. But returning to the question of which of Judah's sons David descended from, he was a descendant of the son Perez. It is important to remember that Perez and Zerah were twins, like Esau and Jacob, but David descended from Perez. Therefore, Christ Jesus is also a descendant of Perez.
I was talking about David.
Now, speaking about an interesting ancestor of King David in the Judah narrative, we have Tamar. She was the wife of Judah, but first was the wife of Judah's first 2 sons, who were killed by God. These sons were conceived with a Canaanite woman. It is relevant to remember that both Abraham and Isaac forbade their descendants from marrying Canaanite women, a directive that was also repeated.
You see how he's either he's ignorant to how our culture, or he's trying to manipulate the scriptures. The Lord of hosts killed those boys that was by the Canaanite woman. He killed them. They don't have nothing to do with it. That's why he flipped it around and got David and got Judah hooked up with Tamar, which was the Israelite woman. And then David came out through the lineage of Perez, one of those twin boys that was Israelites. But he keep mentioning Canaanites, but they was killed. I mean, why would you even mention them? We following a certain lineage, which is, like I said, it's a Hebrew man with a Hebrew woman, just like with Jacob. You know, Hawaiians and Mexicans. He had 4 Hebrew wives, and he was the Hebrew. So all those boys was Hebrews, afros, brown hair, brown eyes. Okay, he going all over the place. They had nothing to do with David lineage.
In Moses' time, when God instructed the people of Israel not to marry Canaanite women. In Exodus 34 verses 11 to 16, NIV, for example, God commands Moses, "Observe what I command you today. I will drive out before you the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles. Do not worship any other god,
This
for
don't
the
have nothing
Lord,
to do with
whose
David.
name is jealous, is a jealous God. Do not make a covenant with the people of the land, because when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and you will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will lead your sons to do the same. Regarding the ethnic identity of Judah's wife known as Tamar, it is important to
Israelite.
note that there is no evidence of her Canaanite origin in the text. This refers exclusively to Judah's first wife, who was indeed Canaanite, and the mother of Er, Onan, and Shelah. Tamar, on the other hand, is widely recognized as of Semitic origin. According to ancient Semitic genealogies, her origin would not be mentioned if she were Canaanite, while the text could highlight this fact as a scandal. Furthermore, according to the Book of Jubilees, Tamar is identified as of Aramean origin, which represents the oldest Jewish tradition about her nationality or ethnicity. Regarding the lineage of King David, the sons of Hezron were Jerahmeel, Ram, Chelobai, and Caleb. Ram fathered Amminadab, who in turn fathered Nahshon, considered the prince of the sons of Judah. Nahshon had a son named Salmon. Salmon, in turn, fathered Boaz. It is important to emphasize that Boaz married Rahab, a non-Israelite woman, originating from the Canaanite city of Jericho. Boaz and Rahab had a son named Boaz, who becomes a prominent figure in the lineage of King David. While Rahab is of Canaanite origin, Boaz is the son of Salmon and Rahab. Boaz, in turn, had a son named Obed. It's interesting to note that Boaz also married another non-Israelite woman named Ruth. Ruth was of Moabite origin, but the Moabites have historical and ethnic connections with the Israelites, much like the Arabs, as they are descendants of Lot, Abraham's nephew. Therefore, Ruth, as a descendant of Lot, was related to the bloodline of Abraham. Obed fathered Jesse, who in turn had several sons, including Eliab, Abinadab, Shemaiah, Nethanel, Rabdi, Ozem, and finally, King David. David's sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail. Zeruiah had 3 sons, Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Abigail gave birth to Amasa, the son of an Ishmaelite Arab named Jether. A common question many people have concerns the origin of David's mother, as the biblical text does not mention her name. However, some interpreters argue that David's mother's name is indeed mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. According to many of these interpreters, David's mother is Nash, and she is described in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 25. In this verse, Absalom appoints Amasa as captain of the army in place of Joab, and mentions that Amasa was the son of a man named Ithra, an Ishmaelite, meaning an Arab. This shows the connection between the descent of Ishmael and the lineage of Judah from the tribe of Israel. Amasa's mother is described as Abigail, the daughter of Naash, meaning Abigail, daughter of Nash. Therefore, Nash would be the mother of David and also the sister of Zeruiah, the mother of Joab. It's interesting to note that David and Joab were relatives because David was Joab's uncle. This is because Zeruiah was David's sister. Thus, David was Joab's uncle. This text is particularly interesting because it reveals that one of David's sisters was married not to a man from the tribe of Judah or Israel, but to an Arab man from the lineage of Ishmael, named Ithra. There are individuals who interpret the texts in a distorted way or develop theories, some suggesting that the mother of King David was a Canaanite woman or even a prostitute. However, when we analyze the text and consider some points, it is more reasonable to suggest that the mother of King David could have Ishmaelite origin or a mixture of Ishmaelite origin with Jewish. This is because the tribe of Judah had connections with some Arab tribes, although not necessarily the Ishmaelites, but also the Kenite and Kenizzites, showing this mixture. However,
Okay. Any comments on that? Brother? Any comments? Yeah, I'm gonna read Psalms 89. Psalms 89. I don't know if anybody pay attention to that or not, but the Most High says that he told them that when they go to the when they bring the animals to make sacrifices, they can't have no blemishes on them. So we go to 1 Samuel 16, right? Look at it right quick. Chapter 16, you see, like, that's another lie he told, was that Samuel chose David. But you see right here in 1 Samuel 16, verse 1, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him? So the Lord, Samuel didn't reject Saul, the Lord of hosts rejected him. I have rejected him from the reign over Israel. Fill thy horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. Not Samuel. Samuel ain't nothing but a servant. He sent Samuel to go anoint David. He chose David. So how would he get a man out of Judah that's been mixed and twisted all up? When he got them bringing animals, and even the priests and all them can't even go into the temple if they mingled all up. So that's a lie. So that's why I'm going to Psalms 89. They try to show you that JC perfect, but they want to distort David. Okay, I'm in 89. Psalms 89 says, let me get it. Says it's starting at 34, 33. Psalms 89, 33. You get the time, read all of it. It's about what they done to David. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him. Talk about David, right? I will never take my loving kindness from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that has gone out of my lips. Once I have sworn by my holiness, and I will not lie unto David. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me, and it shall be established forever as the moon, and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah, but thou hast cast off. This is what the nations done, these Edomites, the ones that concocted the New Testament. But thou hast cast off and abhorred. Thou hast been wroth with my anointing. David is his anointing, the Messiah. 39. Thou hast made void the covenant of thy servant. Thou hast profaned his crown by casting it to the ground. Thou hast broken down all his hedges. That's lineage. Lineage is part of his head, phenotype and genetics. Thou hast broken down all his hedges. Thou hast brought his stronghold to ruins. That all that passed by the way spoiled him. Everybody got something bad to say about him, even when he was alive. He is a reproach to his neighbors. Thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. Thou hast made all his enemies to rejoice. So, like I said, what is he talking about right here? In 42, thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. Thou hast made all his enemies to rejoice. To the adversary, Esau. Like I said before, when you get this information and zero in on it, what color is JC hair? Everywhere all the paintings, everybody falling with it. Red head. Yeah, red head. Edomite. That's who they portraying. Like I was telling you about the painting that they had that gave him authority over in America. They had this woman up in the sky floating in front of the Edomites' red hair with a book and Bible in her hand. Manifest destiny. That's the painting that they painted to represent manifest destiny. And, this woman red-haired woman is leading them. Wisdom is controlling them. It's got their destiny in her hands. And like I said, all the images, all the pictures, you see the JC when you examine them. Because you don't if you don't have this information, you're gonna see a picture on the wall, you don't mean nothing. But once you zero in on and wake up, then you see it. You redhead. That's the image they painted of him. Everybody hollering about the white man knows the Edomite. So he says right here, thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. Thou hast made all his enemies, the adversary is Esau. See, thou hast made his enemies to rejoice. Thou hast also turned the edge of his sword. It has not made him to stand in battle. Thou hast made his glory to cease. Thou hast cast his crown down to the ground. How? JC. JC, the King of the Jews. Right? Say, what are you talking about? Okay. Psalm 37. I mean, Ezekiel 37. Right here. This before you get to the New Testament, you tell us right here in Ezekiel 37, verse 24. Start at 23. Neither shall thou defile themselves. This when he return us back. What we waiting on to regather, take us back to our land. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgression. But I will save them out of their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and I will cleanse them. Excuse me. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Here you go. And David, my servant, that he chose over there with Samuel. David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, David the shepherd. And they shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelled, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince. So we see right here, David gonna be the king, the shepherd, and the prince over Israel. So what is Psalm 89 telling you? They didn't cast this, says 43. Thou hast turned the edge of his sword and has made him to stand, and made him to stand, and made him not to stand in battle. Thou hast made his glory to cease, right? Took the kingship from him and cast his throne down to the ground. JC on it now. The days of his youth hast thou shortened, and thou hast covered him with shame. How long, Lord, will thou hide thyself forever? Shall thy wrath burn with fire? So this is what they've done. Denigrated David. Got JC to and so what you should be surprised, because he the redeemer too. When we already got a redeemer. The Lord of hosts is our redeemer. From Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 and 2. Yahweh and the Lord and the Spirit of God moving on the waters. The angel of the Lord. Like I said last night. That's who came and saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, saved the Israelites out of Egypt, saved Moses, saved Sarah, saved Adam when he sacrificed on the altar, saved Adam. We already had a savior. Okay, so anybody got any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, when you're reading throughout the Old Testament, you can see that the Lord of hosts did not hide anyone. His servant, his prophets, no one, none of his kings. So when you were reading Psalms 89, it said God exalts his chosen one, right? It says in verse 20, I have found David, my servant, with my holy oil have I anointed him. So if it was JC and he didn't come, Johnny come lately to the New Testament, you just got to know something is wrong. And as the man was, talking and breaking down things, that is what he was actually trying to lead up to, was JC. But in the Old Testament, he's just not there.
Right. And if you ain't tuned in or awakened, we're gonna keep on pouring Kool-Aid on your head like you've been doing. But once you come awake, be awakened, like I said, and cast off JC, then the scriptures opened up like a flower. But as long as you trying to deal with him and make him work, you're not gonna see the things that's being revealed. You ain't gonna see it. Just like what I just read in Psalms 89.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
don't know about that. They didn't read Psalms 89, but they didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that? Okay, we'll open it up for
Shalom.
questions. Okay.
When the gentleman was reading and talking, he said the NIV, which he was reading. I don't know what the NIV is. I know the KJV, but the NIV is, what's that? Because he's reading out.
National. I think it's National Invitational Bible. Oh no, National International Bible. National I know version. V is version.
It's the New International Version.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's what that is. But all that is the more that we wake up, they keep coming with these different versions. I trick it off. The word.
Yes, sir. So if
like
someone
said,
had that particular book, they will probably be prone to think that is true, but it's not.
Oh yeah. Right. They just constantly. It's just like when they say transliteration. That's all that is a trick too, to throw you off. So when they originally translated from the Hebrew to the King James, we started waking up with the King James. So they slowly started to get away from that, because that's where the evidence is at, right there in the King James, because it was translated from the Hebrew, which is Latin, and then translated by he used Sir Francis Bacon translated into the English. And so once you wake up, reading that and reading the King James version, it just open up. But they see that. Now they starting to come with all these other different things, different versions, and even zeroing in on certain scriptures. Once they find out that there's been somebody breaking it down, they come in with some more stuff and flip it all around. Trick it off. I forgot to go there. I want to go one more place. Like I said, this ain't no more. You got the local pastor or the mega pastor that say it's a misprint or a typo, whatever. It's a few mistakes in here. No, let's look at this and see if this is a mistake. Like I said, when you understand who the Messiah is David. They knew that, but Psalms 89 tells you they tricked it off. Throw David crown down to the ground, put JC up there, the adversary. So you go to Micah, right? Micah chapter 5. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna start at Micah chapter 4, verse 7 first, to show you that what they done. So it's starting Micah 4, verse 6. In that day, the last day that we waiting on, in that day, said the Lord, will I assemble her that halted. I will gather her that is driven out, and her that have afflicted, that I have afflicted, and I will make her, that's Israel, that halted, a remnant, and her that was cast afar off, a strong nation, and the Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion. So for henceforth, even and forever. So just like he did in Ezekiel 37, after he raised our forefathers up out of the graves, then he tell us in verse 24, and David gonna be your king. Same thing right here. Verse 8, and thou, O tower of the flock, stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion, as David. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Then verse 9, he asks you a question. Now, why do y'all cry aloud? Is there not a king in thee? Is thy counselor perished? So who the king you talking about? David. Who the counselor? The Lord of hosts. Says, is your counselor perished? For pains have taken thee as a woman in travail. Isaiah 66. Right? Be in pains and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now thou shalt go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt be given to Babylon, there thou shalt be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thy enemies. So there go David again. But then go right here, the next chapter, verse 5, here go the trick. Chapter 5, verse 1. Now gather thyself in truth, O daughter of truth. That takes you to Joel, the army that he raised up. Same army in Isaiah, Ezekiel 37. Now gather thyself in truth, O daughter of truth. He have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheeks. This is one of those verses they make you think it's JC, but here you go too. But thou, O Bethlehem, Euphrates, I told you about that. JC was born in Bethlehem, but David was born in Bethlehem, Euphrates. It's him right here. Thou, Bethlehem, Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me. So go back to what he told Samuel. Go and anoint him and anoint him for me. I've chosen a king for me. So here you go again. Be thou, Bethlehem, but thou, Bethlehem, Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old. Period. That's the end of the conversation. Because you got somebody slick like Sir Francis Bacon, and you got Josephus, they got comma from everlasting. So now it's JC. But the original verse said, but thou, Bethlehem, Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth to me, that is to be ruler in Israel, who's going forth have been from old. David, he already been the king from old, period. See that? So you say, what are you talking about? Go to 20. Micah 7 and 20. It says, thou wilt perform truth to Jacob and thy mercy to Abraham, which thou hast sworn unto our father from the days of old. Period. That's why you go through there, you'll see that all over the place. Days of old. Ain't no from everlasting. You put the from everlasting in there to plug JC in there. But it said from old, which was David. He ruled in Israel back in the day. And he promised all his life he's going to resurrect them, Ezekiel 37. And then in Isaiah 66, David, the first one, he resurrect. Let's look at that, then I'll get off of this. So go to Isaiah 66, right? He the first one he resurrect because he got a covenant with David. So go to verse 5, Isaiah 66 and 5. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you, Esau, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy. It's in the last days, the day of the Lord. He shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. It's the harlot, the whore that's over there acting like it's right. When the Lord comes back, they're going to be ashamed. But 6, a voice, the Lord of hosts' voice from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord of hosts, that renders recompense to his enemies before she travailed. This is the woman right here that he said he's going to bring forth. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man-child, David. Before we do anything, he resurrect David. Just like he said in Ezekiel 37, verse 24 and 25. He got to raise the army up. Before he raised the army up, he got to raise up the captain over the army, which is David. Then, verse 8, who have heard such a thing? Nobody. You know, woman ain't never had no birth pains, had a baby before she had the birth pains. That's ludicrous. But this woman right here had a man-child before she started having birth pains. Then verse 8, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. That's it. That's Ezekiel 37. But before she do that, he resurrect David. Okay. Any comments? Okay, everybody good on that? I just want to clear that up. I was watching that video earlier, and that's a major thing they do. You know, and like I said, what's coming out now with what the Russians did with the Black Jesus. Yeah, but it ain't Jesus. It's the Lord of Hosts. He the one with the afro, the red eyes, and the belt in Daniel chapter 10. Burning feet like burnished brass. But we gotta wait on that, just like we waited on this. Let the Lord do it. Let the Lord of Hosts do it. Okay. So I wanted to read out of 1 Kings chapter 8. I want to read 1 Kings chapter 18. I was telling you about how you got two different kingdoms. You got kingdom of Judah and you got the kingdom of Israel was split after Solomon passed away. Because of what Solomon was doing, it caused a split. And with the nation of Israel, ended up two kingdoms: a southern kingdom, Judah, and the northern kingdom, which was consisted of 10 tribes, and Ephraim was over them. Where you got, once it split, you got priests and Levites in the southern kingdom. You got priests and Levites and prophets in the northern kingdom. It was two kings at the same time. One was over Israel, 10 tribes, and one over Judah, which is out of David lineage, is over Judah. But you also had priests and Levites and prophets in both kingdoms. So you got to know when a prophet is prophesying, when you read out of one of these books, who is he prophesying to? What kingdom, what tribe? So let's look at this. I'm in 1 Kings, right? Let me see. 1 Kings chapter 18. So we see Obadiah in here, and we see Elijah in here, but nobody would understand that both of them prophesied at the same time, because two different areas they're dealing with. So chapter 18, we're gonna look at it and I'm gonna read it. Okay, it says, and so like I said before, how you gonna rightly divide anything if you don't understand that? So it says 18, came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the third year, saying, go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. Remember what's going on. So it let you know if it's in Samaria, that's the 10 tribes. But we know these people were brought there by the Assyrians. The Assyrians got men from other countries, took the Israelites out and put men from other countries. They ain't Israelites. That's why he having so much trouble with them. When they conquered, the Syrians they conquered the 10 tribes, and they didn't destroy the city. The city was just like when the Most High brought Israelites into the land of Canaan. They got wells they didn't dig. They got cities, and they got all this stuff they didn't do. It was in place when they got there, when they conquered the people. Same when Syrians came to Israel, the 10 tribes. Everything was there. He just brought the people there. Tells you that in 2 Kings chapter 17. He brought men there, the 10 tribes. The Israelites been taken to Assyria. So go back. It says 3. And Ahab called Obadiah. See that? Ahab called Obadiah. That's the same Obadiah back here. If they're telling you a minor prophet. It says, now Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly, for it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took the 100 prophets. See that? Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in the cave and fed them with bread and water. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, go into the land unto all the fountains of the water and unto all the brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and the mules alive, that we lose not all their beasts. So they divided the land between them, passed throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself. Obadiah went another way by himself. And Obadiah was in the way. Behold, Elijah met him. So you say, well, this ain't the same Obadiah, right? So behold, Elijah met him and he knew him. And he fell on his face and said, art thou that my Lord Elijah? So he a prophet. He know Elijah. And not only that, Elijah older than him. So anyway, and he answered him, I am. Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, what have I seen, that thou wouldst deliver thy servant into the hands of Ahab to slay me? And the Lord thy God liveth. As the Lord thy God liveth, there is no nation or kingdom whether thou, my Lord, have not sent to seek thee. And when they said he is not here, he took an oath for the kingdom and the nation that they found thee not. And now thou sayest, go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And it shall come to pass, now he's going to prophesy to Elijah, Obadiah is, and it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee, or whether I know not. And so when I came to tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I, thy servant, fear the Lord from my youth. Was it not told, my Lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50s in a cave, and fed them with bread and water. And now thou sayest, go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel? And he said, and he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou followed Balaam. So they ain't Israelites. Now therefore send and gather to me all Israel under Mount Carmel, and the prophets, and Baal 450, and the prophets, and the groves 400, which eat of the Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halted ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Balaam, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. Then said Elijah unto the prophet, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Lord. But Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under it. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under. And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God that answered by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. And Elijah said unto the prophet of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves, and dress it first, for ye are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even unto noon, saying, check this out. It's gonna blow your mind. Oh Baal, hear us, right? So they called on Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. Now here you go. And they leaped upon the altar. Check it out. They leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah marked them and said, cry loud, for he is a God, right? Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is on a journey, or pre-adventure, he's sleeping and must be awakened. And then they cried aloud. So the prophets of Baal cried aloud, here you go. cut themselves. Check it out. And they cut themselves aloud, cry aloud and cut themselves after the manner with knives and latchets. Look at this, till the blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. So, verse 28, did that ring a bell for anybody? Let me read it again. They cried aloud, cut themselves after the manner of the night, after their manner with knives and latches, till blood gushed out upon them. Did that ring a bell for anybody? That don't ring a bell for nobody?
I can't place it on Shalom.
Passion of the Christ.
Yes, sir. That's
See
what
that?
it was. Yes, sir.
Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Our God don't deal with this. They beat the hell out of JC, blood gushing everywhere. Come on. So look at this. So if that's the case, who is he? Who is he? Baal. Come on. So look at this. I'll read it again. And they cried aloud, cut themselves after their manner with knives and latches till blood gushed out upon them. Come on. That's the very image of Jay-Z. Blood everywhere.
Shalom. So when they're saying cut themselves, not themselves personally, they were cutting that.
No, they cut themselves.
Oh, they cut themselves?
That's what they do. That's what they do back then. They was taking mushrooms and everything else, and they cut themselves and bring blood. That's why they were sacrificing the kids, to bring blood. They cutting themselves. And then latches. What's it? What are you talking about? We got a cat of 9 tails with metal spikes on the end of it. Go do the research on Opus Dei. Okay. The priesthood in Rome, where they beat themselves. They got whips with spikes on the end of it and beat themselves in their rooms so they bleed. Yeah, you see all this stuff in the movies, but you don't know what it is that they do. It was on I can't think of the name of the movie, but it was with Tom Hanks in it. That's what they do. They beat themselves. It's got a set called Opus Dei. They beat themselves with cat of 9 tails. Because they believe that the body is sin. When the Creator, when the Lord of Hosts made humans, they got a sin element in them.
Yes, they said that. Oh, when you said cat of 9 tails, it was that they said that JC came through the temple when the people were gambling and trading, and he had a cat of 9 tails and whipping the people out of the temple. So that's what you're thinking on, that ball with little spikes.
The Romans had cat. The Roman soldier had a cat of 9 tails beating JC when he had the cross.
Yes.
You never saw Passion of Christ?
No, sir. But I saw the other one when they first made it.
Those gashes on his back is called the cat of 9 tails that he beating him with. He got metal spikes or metal pieces of metal tied to the end of those lashes. So every time he hit him, he cut him open. And he bleeding all over the place like a hog. That's what these mean. Same thing right here. Our God don't require that. Not from no human. Even the animals, you don't do that to the animals when they sacrifice them. Okay, but yeah, let that ferment. So yeah, I'll stop it off right there. That's what my point I was trying to get across. So yeah, we see that Obadiah interacted with Elijah, but you wouldn't know that if it wasn't told to you. Just like Amos and Jeremiah. Jeremiah was talking to Jeremiah was talking to the northern southern kingdom prophesying that Nebuchadnezzar was coming. At the same time, Hosea was telling the southern kingdom that the Assyrian was coming. But they got you thinking they got you thinking that these minor prophets existed in a different time than the major prophets. And that's why the books are all messed up, because some of the minor prophets came and prophesied to Israel before some of the major prophets did. But they got the major prophets set first, then they got the minor prophets after them. And that's not the sequence of the books. And that's already been revealed to us, what I just read in Psalms 89. They turned everything upside down in order to lead you to the New Testament, to JC. When he ain't nothing but a concoction. Okay? Anybody got comments? Okay. So where we was at in Jeremiah, we'll read a couple chapters before we close. Anybody
I had chapter 27, sir.
Okay, so we already read 27?
No, sir, that's where we stopped at. We read 26. I read 26.
Okay, somebody gonna read 27? We'll read maybe 2 or 3 chapters.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Jeremiah 27. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Joaz, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus said the Lord to me, Make thee bonds of yoke, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of the messengers which came to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah, Zedekiah, king of Judah. Thank you. And command them to say unto their masters, Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth and the man and the bears and the beasts that are upon the ground, but my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed met unto me. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all the nations shall serve him, and his sons and his sons' sons, until every time of his land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. Verse 8, And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, said the Lord, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. Therefore hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. For the prophecy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and ye shall perish. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, said the Lord, and they shall till it, and dwell therein. Verse 12, I spake unto Zedekiah, king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, Bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will you die, thou and thy people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as the Lord has spoken against the nations that will not serve the king of Babylon. Therefore hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. For I have not sent them, said the Lord, yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that ye might perish. Ye and the prophets that prophesy unto you. Also I spake to the priests and to all this people, saying, Thus said the Lord, hearken not to the words of your prophets, and that prophecy unto the same. Behold, the vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for the prophecy a lie unto you. Hearken not unto them, serve the king of Babylon and live. Wherefore should this city be laid waste? Verse 18, But if they be prophets, and if the word of the Lord be with them, let them now make intercession to the Lord of hosts, that the vessels which are left in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah, and at Jerusalem, go not to Babylon. For thus said the Lord of hosts concerning the pillars, and concerning the sea, and concerning the bases, and concerning the residue of the vessels that remain in this city, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took not, when he carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yea, thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah and of Jerusalem. They shall be carried to Babylon, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them to this place. Jeremiah 27, verse 1 through 22.
Okay, any comments? No comments?
No, sir.
Okay, so anyway, notice that first off it says we always hear people now that you got so many Israelites awaken, say they awaken, say that the Old Testament says, the New Testament never says, thus say the Lord. Paul just talking out his own head, and prophets, apostles, Jesus talking out his own head. None of them say, thus say the Lord. You don't see that in the New Testament. But how about this? What we just read, it says, verse 19, for thus say the Lord of hosts. It's not thus say the Lord, thus say the Lord of hosts. That's a being. That's our Redeemer. So, and then you see that all through that chapter. It says, thus say the Lord of hosts, not thus say the Lord. I just want to shine a light on that. So, when he's talking about these vessels, if you go back to that very beginning, like I told you, Nebuchadnezzar came to Jerusalem 3 times. It's right here, he's telling them these false prophets, which is over in the northern kingdom, is prophesying, saying that Nebuchadnezzar ain't coming back, that he gonna bring the other vessels back. But he telling them right here, go tell them, he telling Jeremiah, go tell them they ain't bringing them back. He coming and get the rest of them. That's what he says right here, 22. They shall be carried to Babylon. There shall they be until the days that I visit them, says the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them. That's what we looked at in Ezra. When Cyrus came on the scene, Cyrus told them, let's look at it. Like I said, you see we're in Jeremiah, but we're going backwards. That's because these books ain't in order. But we're going backwards to Ezra. So Ezra came after Jeremiah. But anyway, it's in Ezra chapter 1, verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, the priests, the Levites, and them that was the Spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. And all they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver and gold, and with goods and with beasts and with precious things besides that was willingly offered. Also, Cyrus, king of Persia, this the prophecy that we just read in 27 being fulfilled. Also, Cyrus, king of Persia, king brought forth the vessels. This is the vessels they talking about in 27 of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem and had put them in the house of his God. So we gave this was, so you got to understand who this prince in Daniel 9:25 was. Zerubbabel. They gave these vessels to him. And he brought them back. But it's fulfilling this prophecy right here. In Jeremiah 27:22. They shall be carried to Babylon, and there they shall be till the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them. So that's after the 70 years. And matter of fact, when you first started reading, he says that in verse 7, and all the nations shall serve him, that's Nebuchadnezzar, his son's son, until the time this land to the land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves to him. This great king is Cyrus. So Nebuchadnezzar, his son, his grandson, that's 70 years. Same as 70 years. That's why, like I said, when you understand what's going on, that's why Daniel started fasting and praying in chapter 9, because he saw that the boy that there was, the hand came on the wall. That's the grandson. So he knew the time that came for it was up for them to be in Babylon. That's why he started praying. 7 years, right after 70 years, right around 69 years. So that's what that's all about. And so, like I said before, we also saw in let's look at it. Daniel 9:25. Everybody should know that. 24. The good fig and the bad fig, right? So let's look at it. So it says you got two. I told you it's two kingdoms now because of Solomon. You got the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. You got two baskets of figs. Well, let's look at it. Look at verse 8 or 24. And as the evil fig, which cannot be eaten, they are so evil. Surely thus says the Lord, so will I give Zedekiah. See that? Zedekiah, the king of the northern kingdom. So that's the wicked fig, him and the northern kingdom. But the problem is, but he said, as for the southern kingdom, which is Judah and Benjamin and Levi, he says, let's look at it. Okay, 6, 24 and 6. For I will set mine eyes upon them. 5. Thus says the Lord God of Israel, like these good figs, so will I carry them captive, captive of Judah, whom I have set out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans for good. Southern kingdom went to Judah and went to Babylon. That's the good fig, the southern kingdom. The wicked fig is Zedekiah over the wicked fig. He's over the northern kingdom. Okay, so anyway, somebody want to read 28?
Shalom. Yes, sir. Jeremiah chapter 28. And it came to pass the same year in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year, and in the 5th month, that Hananiah, the son of Azur, the prophet, which was of Gibeon, spake unto me in the house of the Lord, in the presence of the priests and all of the people, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon, Within 2 full years will I bring again into this place all the vessels of the Lord's house that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried them to Babylon. And I will
Okay,
bring again.
right there. Is that a lie or is that the truth? 12 verses 2 and 3 says, "Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel." This the prophet Hannah saying this. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, "I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years will I bring again into this place all the vessels of the Lord's house, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried them to Babylon." Is that a lie or is that the truth? We just read over here in 22. He says 27, 21 and 22. "Yea, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah and in Jerusalem, they shall be carried to Babylon." See that? Now this dude, in 28, he a false prophet. He comes and say, "Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years will I bring again into this place all the vessels of the Lord's house that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried them to Babylon." That's a lie. And so the reason why I shine a light on this, that's what Negroes doing today. Saying that they got something from the Lord and they ain't got nothing from the Lord. They off. Go ahead.
28 and 4. "And I will bring again to this place Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, with all the captives of Judah that went into Babylon, said the Lord, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon." Then the prophet Jeremiah said unto the prophet Hananiah in the presence of the priests and in the presence of all the people that stood in the house of, even the prophet Jeremiah said, "Amen, the Lord do so. The Lord perform thy word which thou hast prophesied, to bring again the vessels of the Lord's house, and all that is carried away captive from Babylon into this place. Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears, and in the ears of all the people. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. The prophet which prophesied of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him." Then Hananiah the prophet took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and brake it. And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, "Thus saith the Lord, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years." And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. 12. Then the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet, after that Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, "Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the beasts of the field also." Then said the prophet Jeremiah unto Hananiah the prophet, "Hear now, Hananiah, the Lord had not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth. This year thou shalt die, because thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord." So Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month. That was Jeremiah chapter 28.
So you see what happened to a lying prophet right here. He killed him.
Yes, sir.
He made a point to kill him. But I want to shine a light on something I had talked about before. I don't know if it's stuck or not, but you got a lot of people waking up now. They go to Deuteronomy. Let's go there. And it says, Deuteronomy 28:46, I think it is. Like I was saying about the day of the Lord, it's way more than one day of the Lord. but they using it when they came and concocted JC. They made these specific events that's gonna happen in the future. But there was a day of the Lord when he showed up in Egypt. The Lord showed up in Egypt with the 10 plagues. That was the day of the Lord. When he showed up in Babylon with Cyrus, that was the day of the Lord. But anyway, these curses right here, Moses told them about these curses. This before anything had happened to them. So these curses reoccurring every time something happens. And I'm going to show you that right here. So it says, it says, I'm trying to find the one where you're going to put a yoke of iron up on their neck. Okay. It is. Yoke of iron. Maybe 36. Okay, so everybody know what that it's the verse. It says the Lord is gonna put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, right? So let's go back to Jeremiah 28, and you see right here in starting at verse 12. Then the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet after the Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, "Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Thus says the Lord." This during the time of the Babylonian captivity. Thou hast broken the yoke of wood, but thou shalt make them yokes of iron. So ain't nothing new. What happened in transatlantic slave trade happened in Babylon. They had yokes of iron on their neck in Babylon. So like I said before, these curses didn't just start happening when the transatlantic slave trade. They happened when they went to Babylon. They happened when the Greeks came. Is when they
I was going to say Shalom, Deuteronomy 28 and 48.
What did it say?
Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shall thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Right. So we know that we can relate to that in the transatlantic slave trade and what happened over in America, but we see it also happening right here. When they went to Babylon, he told Jeremiah to tell Hananiah, "Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Thus said the Lord, thou hast broken the yoke of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron." The Chaldeans and the Babylonians put yokes of iron on their neck. So what we see happening over here ain't nothing new. It's part of the curses, and these curses is reoccurring. Every time they sin against him, turn away from him, he bring a nation of people there, and they put these curses on them. Just like I was telling you, the day of the Lord. It's more every time he come and redeem Israel, that's the day of the Lord. Or it's another word they use is when I visit you, day of visitation. So 70 years he took them to Babylon, then the day of visitation came. The day of the Lord, he visited them. When the day of the Lord, when he came to Egypt, when he communed with Moses, sent Moses back to deliver the Israelites, and came with him. That was the day of the Lord, the day of visitation. All the same thing. So it ain't like the curses is just, specific to transatlantic slave trade. Okay. It's the same thing with the so-called miracles what JC done when he taught in the temple at 12 years old, turned water into wine. Well, hell, the 16 crucified saviors that came for him did the same thing. Those are characteristics. When they say make an idol or make a god, that's the characteristics they use. The Buddha turned water into wine. Horus taught in the temple at 12 years old. turn water into wine. Dionysus. Right. Is this something? So,
Yes, sir.
anybody got any questions or comments about anything before we go?
No, sir.
Okay, everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got our advanced Bible study tomorrow night on Clubhouse. Non-Messianic Conversation, so you want to join us on there? It's all good. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.